Hey guys, Chris at The Ultimate Recycler. Welcome to part 4 and the final video in the series of our retro house clean out. If you haven't seen parts 1, 2 and 3, we go through the entire process of quoting, checking out what we got, cleaning up, listing it all, processing it. We've ended up with 17 pages of items here that we've all allocated serial numbers for, priced out, and they're in our shops. We've finally finished the deal. This episode will just finalise everything. We'll look at the top 10 items that we found. We'll show you the hours. Kristen kept track of our hours. We'll show you what sort of potential return we expect to get. And there's a few honourable mentions to just show you with regards to some of the other stuff we found. So let's start with the time involved. Now, Kristen kept track of our hours, as I said. And we ended up tallying up between us about 85 hours of basically labour. They included driving to the property, loading up, organising the rubbish, which we kept as much as possible out of landfill. And I might just mention the mattresses and some of the other larger things that were of no value for us we managed to give away. I even offered free delivery on the mattresses to people that could use them because it costs us to get rid of them, so it was worthwhile me doing that. So we kept all them out of landfill, and our time also includes all the processing, and you'll see that in videos 2 and 3 of how we process it all. And what we end up doing is allocating serial numbers for everything. We list it all in a book we use for these jobs. We estimate a rough price, so we sometimes do a bit of research, we price them all out, and the other column here is when we actually sell stuff. So we have sold a little bit of the items already, but just scanning through here you can see there's, well, as I said, there's 17 pages, and most of the value of the stuff is purely a multiplying effect. We've got lots of items at $5 and $10. Now, quite a large bulk of it as well ended up on the free trolley or went into a box for $1 a pick. We don't write down anything less than $5 generally, sometimes $3 each on things. So we do process and distribute the huge bulk of the stuff that normally would have gone to landfill. We give stuff away, as I've mentioned. We have a lot of cheap stuff just to go. I recycle some things that we can recycle. Soft plastics go to a special recycling place. Cardboard and empty bottles and jars and things that aren't of any value get recycled as well. So enough about all that. That was our time for the job. Now, a lot of you have been hanging out to find out what sort of value we got. And yes, there's a lot of items and a lot of cheaper items. There wasn't a great deal of really good treasures, but I'll touch on our top 10 shortly. Let's get straight down to that important figure. All of these items here added up to around about a potential return of $6,000 or thereabouts. Now, if you haven't seen the videos, you should have gone back and checked them out, because looking at all the stuff, a lot of people would have said, oh, I wouldn't give you $20 for it all. It just really is amazing how things can multiply out. And I'll show you the top 10 soon, I keep saying that, but that will give you an idea that we didn't find anything absolutely fantastic. It was just purely a return for a large volume of items that we could market. Now let's qualify that figure, because I've told you we got this house lot for nothing, and no one gives away $6,000 for nothing. And yes, we've spent 85 odd hours working at it, and that also repairs a lot of, includes a lot of repairing of things as well as just washing up, a bit of value adding where we can. But we're not going to work for under about $50 an hour each these days. We're professionals at what we do, and that's going to work out in labour figures at around about a bit over $4,000. So that doesn't leave a huge amount of profit, and then you've got other expenses. We run 2 shops. We have obviously maintenance and fuel on our vehicles and all the other overheads that go with businesses, including insurance. So it's not a magic amount of free money. It's a business thing, and it's hard work, and we wouldn't do it unless it was profitable. look at the other side of the coin. If the owner, or if you are in a situation where you have to clean up a house lot and you have to, you don't really know what it's all worth and you want to try and market it yourself, the owner of this house lot could have tackled it himself. You would have had to have, you didn't live in the house, you would have had to drive to do it. You would probably be looking at least $1,000 expense for a couple of skips or dumpsters. You've got then the time to load them, unless you wanted to do loads to the transfer station yourself, which they charge per trailer load. You would then have to try and get your money somehow to cover that, and you could sell a couple of the better bits and you might be lucky to find a retail buyer, but we get full retail for everything. The average person marketing stuff on their own, even if you looked at this whole 6,000, you're going to be lucky to get 3,000, and that's assuming you sell it all. Now, how are you going to do that? Well, a lot of the $5 items that you're not going to sell on Marketplace, you're not going to sell on eBay because they're not worth the postage. Are you planning to go to a market for the next 10 years, dragging a truckload of goodies around? So you can see it's really difficult for someone that hasn't got a shop situation to process this sort of stuff. So we think we represent pretty good value as far as helping people out. Yes, we make money, that's what we do, but we're really keen on reducing things going to landfill, reducing rubbish, and when people normally clean out their own places or their parents' place, they don't have the time to commit, and invariably most of it gets thrown out, even stuff that is quite valuable sometimes. So I hope that sort of qualifies that figure, but we're happy to do these deals. Obviously we're set up, we have the processes in place, we have the knowledge, and this is how we work. So I hope you find that interesting. All right, let's move on to the top 10. So I've got some clips here and I'll run through our top 10 best treasures. Now we'll start from the 10th. We'll work backwards, and we had equal 10th. We had these two fuel cans, retail at around about $100. And then we had a couple of padlocks that actually suited a Holden steering lock on 1960s model cars. Now I didn't even know these were in a box, and we actually eBayed these and they made about $100. So those items were equal 10th. 9th on the list, these enamel saucepans. Now these were in a box in the garden shed. Most people wouldn't see much value in these, but these added up to around about $120 retail. Number 8 on the list, these two wind-up toys. There were a few toys, but these were the best two. And these made around about $120, and we've actually sold them already. Number 7 on the list was these two pieces of gold. Now I showed one gold ring that we found in the garden shed. We also found this watch case that was 9 carat gold. So they're both 9 carat. I think they worked out at just over 5 grams. And it's about $160 at today's prices. Number 6 on the list was the model cars. Now the VW Beetle, the German-made one, around about $120, and the Ford is about $80. So there's $200 for those two. The Ford car is actually a dealer promotion car, and there was a few others in the deal as well, but they were a bit damaged. This was the best one. Number 5, surprising, the woolen blankets off the beds and travel rugs from the linen closet, around about $200. I did mention this in one of the videos. They're Australian made, they were all in pretty good condition, and they're quite popular. Number 4, also from the linen closet, doilies and other linen like tablecloths and tea towels. It's incredible the value on these things, and they sell really well. Ladies love the old handwork doilies. They do look good in the shop. Number 3, again another quantity thing, all these kids books, children's books from the 1950s and into the 60s. Some were in excellent condition, even though they were in a box in the shed. There were a few that had water damage, but all these ones retail will add up to around about $290, although we'll probably have to discount a few at the end. Number 2, this one you spotted in the video, and I've had people ask me about it, the starburst clock that was on the kitchen wall. Now it needed repair, and I actually did a video on repairing. It was badly corroded at the back, and I'll put the link up now. I've done a video on repairing this one, and that's got a retail value of around about $300 in good working order. But we won't actually ever see any money for that because that's now on our kitchen wall, one of the perks of the job. And number one, the best thing we got out of this deal, we did spot when we first got there, and they did turn out to be worth more than what I realised. The retro lounge chairs, we ended up getting $550 for these. I did sell in pairs rather than one complete set. And it turns out they were a bit older than I thought. They were 1950s, and they were known as a Restalax chair. They were Melbourne made, and one guy messaged me from Melbourne, and apparently they restore them and sell them at about $400 each or something like that. So that turned out to be the best deal by a long shot. We actually did kind of earmark them for our place, but we didn't have room to bring them home. They would have been nice on our deck, but then they would have deteriorated in being outside. So yeah, they've found loving homes. The people were absolutely rapt, and that turned out to be our best spinner. Now, before we wind things up, let's just look at some honourable mentions that didn't quite make the top 10 list. We had a Victor spark plug socket tool. Now this we actually sold through eBay. This is sort of something that you've got to have a bit of specialist knowledge in. It turns out that this is a genuine Victor tool that suited the early lawnmowers, and for those of you overseas, Victor is a well-known Australian lawnmower brand, started in the 1950s. And this spark plug tool, whilst it doesn't look anything special, made just over $60 on eBay, and it just goes to show what can be in a toolbox and hiding away. It could be sought after by someone. Another honourable mention, also in a box in the shed, was this Herald Touring Club badge. I found a few of these online, and we priced this one out at around about $50. I think we put on that in the shop. Quite a nice badge. Badges are always popular, and they're very collectible. Now, something else that we found in a box this might have been inside or in the shed, I don't quite remember, but it's a George Butler Sheffield knife. Very good blade on it, really good quality steel, and this sold the first weekend I put it in the shop, and we got $55 for this one. So again, a nice little treasure that you don't see when you first look in boxes. And the only other honourable mention I've got, didn't quite make the top 10 because we only priced it at about $85, is this Depression era oil lamp. They're very common, but they do sell quite well, and this one's in good working order. Okay, that concludes this retro house clean out series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give us some feedback if you would on how these videos are panning out. Are you enjoying the process? What did you think of the top 10 idea? If that's a bit of a hit, I'll try and do that on all my picking videos. So until next time, take care. We'll see you in the next video.